Hello and welcome to a Diplomacy is not an option guide. In this guide we'll be going over the first mission as well as all the useful beginner tips I can give you. You want to start off by looking at the bottom right side of your screen, right here. Here we have population buildings, food, resource production, city development, resource management, advanced resource production, army, fortifications, and additional defenses. Here we also have our beginner army, and I'll get into it in a moment. But first, look at the top side of your screen, where we have our population growth, our current free workers, our food and food consumption in red, our resources, wood, stone and iron, as well as special resources like gems and gold. To start off, you want to get some food. And as for food, at the start you can get either berries or fish. The amount of fish is finite and the berries just regrow, so let's just get some berries at the start. Then you also want to build a few builder houses in the city development. I usually do too. And then with the rest of your workers, you wanna create 3 lumber camps, because you're gonna need lots and lots of wood. Now let's press play and let's get going. I usually leave my catapult in base and I just go exploring with my 6 archers and 6 swordsmen. You want to press F, you can see by the red cursor that it's selected, then it will attack any enemies that they see. You can see that's quite a big group, but those peasants are really weak, so we don't really have to worry. The health of your units also regenerates over time, so... Now, when you have some spare wood, and some food production going, what you want to do is create some houses so that you can get new people to come into your town. So I suggest starting with at least 2 new houses. Now these cards you can collect, these ones give you food, there are also wood ones like here, and there are also stone ones.
Our troops are under attack.
Like... oh, we don't have any right here. But yeah, that's it for the super basics, and now I'm just gonna move on to my other save file that I've already recorded a full game in. I just wanted to do that intro right here so I can show you through the controls. So here we are, about where we ended off last time, building a few houses and scouting with our troops. You don't really need to worry about your army on the first level, because there aren't really any huge armies of peasants. There's only like 1 or 2 which can give you any trouble with your starter army. But then you can just summon a few of the soldiers, the ones you conjure with the crystals, and then it's not a big deal. So whenever you have some downtime with your production or buildings, you can just queue up your army to scout out some more of the area. We're expecting to get 11 new people, and we have more than 11 slots for new people, so we are fine on the houses for the first day. And now the new day starts and we get the new people. Now we have 12 free workers, so it's best if we put them to good use. I'll just start with building a few more houses, because I tend to forget if I leave it for later. As always, you want to get more wood production. Because, well, in the early game, everything you create out of wood, so you can never really have too much of it. Adding an extra storage there will also allow you to optimize their effectiveness. You don't want to neglect your food either, as you need to feed the new citizens of your kingdom. Remember that you can always support your army with a summon or 2. They are quite cheap at only 2 crystals, and you get 1 crystal from each destroyed house. So technically I suppose you could even clear the entire map with just the summons. The first map, the second one is much tougher. You can see that we're having a few free workers, so it's a good idea to utilize them in some way. If you don't need more food, there's no reason to overproduct it, so either go with builders or with more production, preferably on the wood. Although at this point you could also start to mine out some stone. And since we're still having 4 free workers, I'll just add 2 more lumber camps, because you can never have too much wood. And a new day brings new people again. Just remember that every new citizen needs to be fed, so the food requirements grow every day. By day 3 you really should start producing some stone, so just locate a place where you can put a stone mine. When you click on the building, it'll show you. Usually it's quite beneficial to put a storage right there as well, because they tend to have quite a far way to bring it back to the main castle. And here you can see a warning of an upcoming attack, as well as the direction of where it's gonna come from. So you have about 3 minutes to prepare some defenses. In my case, I haven't even built barracks yet, so I create one as well. You don't really need to fortify super hard for the first attacks, even on the second map. However, it's still best to prepare at least a tower and create a few additional archers. Although if that would be more of your style, you could technically beat the first wave without any defenses, with just your beginner army, but just remember to bring the catapult and summon a few death knights with your spell. I just create a few additional archers to help with defenses and add a few more houses, because I wouldn't have enough to accept the full new population limit during the next day. Generally, it's in your best interest to create new houses as soon as possible, because at least in my experience, it's easy to forget about them. And here comes the first wave. And don't worry if you're a little intimidated like I was here, as it was my first game. I wanted to kind of create the first impressions. I went quite overboard. As you can see, their enemy force is quite tiny and pathetic. I'm pretty sure the Death Knights themselves would be able to clean it up. So yeah, you can see the day when the next attack will come. So you have 3 days in this case to prepare for a second wave. And that's it for the very beginning. You managed to defeat the very first wave of angry peasants. So now just expand, get more people, get bigger armies, and make sure that they know that indeed diplomacy was not an option. When you've got enough wood and stone, you can also upgrade your town hall to level 2, which will allow you to create higher level buildings, which usually just means they are more expensive but have higher efficiency. Like a tier 2 house will also cost stone, but it will be able to house more people. We also have additional buildings like fountains or taverns. Fountains will increase the number of people who can live in a house by 1 in a set radius, and a tavern will decrease the amount of food people need in a given radius around it. Oh, and by the way, here's the research. You can upgrade the efficiency of pretty much everything, like higher health on your walls and towers, faster speed of your workers and builders, and higher damage on your archers or higher durability on your infantry. Every time you upgrade or build a new specialized building like a hospital, or upgrade a building like barracks to barracks 2, you'll be able to have some new research available to you. Generally, it's a good idea to look at the research and research something every few minutes after you have your very starting situation stabilized, after like day 1 or 2, because at the very beginning your wood and stone are best spent on new houses or production buildings. As you can see, here's the tavern in action, and it can be a huge boon because it will help you manage your food supplies. And here are the fountains as well. It's generally good to have a separate living area for your citizens, so you can just catch all the houses with just a few fountains and preferably just 1 tavern. If you're enjoying the video so far, please consider leaving a like and a subscribe, and a comment would be highly appreciated as well. Whether the series will continue or not will depend on how the video is received. And if you feel confused on any other mechanics or have any other general questions, make sure to just ask in a comment. I will make sure to respond to it either in a comment or in the next video. And don't be scared to use your crystals offensively as well. I have my entire army in the bottom right corner of the map. However, the only unexplored part of the map is the top left corner, so instead of wasting a lot of time moving my entire army up there, I just summon a few Death Knights up there to deal with the relatively easy level 1 hordes of peasants. And make sure that before the wave 4 you explore the entirety of the map and kill any peasants that are there, because otherwise they will join during the final assault. Here we also start to mine out some iron, which is a tier 3 resource, meaning it is required to upgrade our town center to tier 3, as well as creating a bunch of tier 3 buildings, as well as just tier 2 units. So it is generally good to start mining it about day 5 or 6, depending on how advanced you are. And now, as we start day 7, we also have to deal with a new horde of angry peasants. And here they come. Now you can probably notice about 2 things. The first one would be that the amount of peasants is about twice bigger than during the first attack, and that rule generally applies in later waves as well. The second thing you probably noticed is that they are really stupid. Despite having only a bit of wall and a huge hole right next to where they're attacking, they still decided to just attack the wall instead of going just a few steps to the right and get through. So yeah, you don't really need to stress out that much during the earlier missions. And here's how the city is looking right now, since I'm jumping through the footage quite a lot. So this is how it's looking right now. And at this point, pretty much the only thing remaining is to keep doing what you've already been doing until wave 10. I'm mostly gonna be walling around everything, increasing the production, increasing the population, food production, doing a bunch of research and all that. So I'll just catch you a bit before the final wave, and then I'll show you the final wave, and that will be the end of the first episode. Yeah, about that, I got caught a little off guard. As you can see, here's my iron and stone production, and I have absolutely no military or any defenses right here, so I'm forced to improvise. However, since it's normal difficulty and I have a lot, and I mean a lot of crystals stockpiled, I just summon a lot of Death Knights as cannon fodder and bring a couple of my archers to support them from behind. Even though I don't have any walls or any towers to put my archers on, I still manage to defend from the wave. So you really don't need to sweat that much, especially in the first two missions. Now, just enjoy the slaughter. Oh, and don't let any random wandering peasants get away and harass your citizens. Make sure to catch them as well and serve them a bit of your kingly justice. Before the final wave happens, it's a good idea to have at least the basic stone wall around your entire base. Don't forget about unit production either, preferably the crossbows. Now, obviously, me being me, I somehow managed to not have enough time to build all the walls I wanted, which should be no problem for you at all. It's just a skill issue on my part. However, in mission 1 you only get attacked from 2 sides, plus any peasants you didn't slaughter in the wilderness, which preferably will be 0. Now, it's just a matter of manning up the defenses you've built and getting ready for the peasants to come to slaughter. Enjoy the slaughtering. And apparently also the micromanagement, as I try to somehow salvage the situation of being attacked on a front where I have absolutely no defenses, but luckily I have a shit ton of crystals, so I can just summon my backup.
Fortifications are under attack.
As you can see, a wall made up of undead peasant-killing warriors is even more effective than a stone one. Anyways, that brings this episode to a close, so I hope you enjoyed that. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you click here you can get a cookie or watch another cool video of mine, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care!